Well, hello, everyone. Let's get that off the screen. Welcome. See if I have my stuff set up the way I need it to be. Right. So I think I probably need to set this to my focus right. There we go. Yep. And the audio coming through. All right. So, welcome back for some more game dev. Hey HRN. Nice to see you again. All right, so today we're finally hopefully going to be able to order our AI friends around using this radio thing that we've been working on for quite some time actually. I originally intended to stream a bit earlier, but I kept running into a bunch of annoying input issues related to this new menu. I'm trying a slightly different microphone setup today, by the way. I've come to realize that my audio has been sort of breathy in previous episodes. So I'm trying to keep the microphone at a slightly further distance. See if that helps. Let me know if I need to up the volume. Looks pretty all right on my end, but still. Let me know if it's not good. Right, so I've fixed a few things with this. Actually, I fixed like probably 20 or 30 things with this menu because it was kind of buggy and the input was going to the wrong places. Like if you for example you were playing with gamepad and you pause the game like this, and then you click resume here, it would sort of issue an automatic select there in the menu, which of course is not actually the idea, not something that we want. But now it looks like it's working kind of all right. There's one last thing that I want to do to this menu, and that is the fact that if you don't have any AI companions in the area, you don't have anyone to radio really, then we need this menu to look like something. I'm not exactly sure if that's ever going to be the case in the campaign. I'm kind of planning for there to always be someone with you in the missions. Not sure if that's going to be the case, but at least if you're outside of the campaign and you're just like playing the sandbox mode or whatever. If you remember from last time, these three vehicles, the mother vehicle, scout vehicle, gripper vehicle, these are just hard-coded into the radio system currently. And that's one of the first things that we're going to be working on today, is actually getting a proper list of guys in the vicinity that you can talk to. If you're playing in the sandbox mode, there might not be anyone around, so we need this menu to show something. Otherwise, it's just going to be super confusing. But yeah, let's pause that. I actually did a little bit of a checklist for today. Let's quickly go through what I'm planning to do here. So first of all, I want to rename things in the code that are called radio something to com radio, to make it clear that this is like the communications radio that we're talking about. Otherwise, myself later and indeed other people reading the code are like, what is this radio thing going on? Oh, I'm getting a phone call. 1 second. right, sorry about that. Right, so yeah, you have things like the radio manager that I want to rename just com radio manager. Let's see how well the Zig renaming tools work. And then yeah, just hack the server to return an empty list and just make sure that the menu kind of behaves as we would expect. Then I was thinking we would turn our attention to figuring out who is actually in the area, who can we actually talk to. Let's create a new component called the com radio component, and it registers itself with the radio manager when it's created, and that is essentially how the server knows who is there. And of course we need to filter out the player's current vehicle from that list, so that you can't contact yourself. That would be silly. And then basically just some notes here on how to actually make the call. And that should make it so that in particular we have this demo mission here. We put down the mother vehicle there. It is standing approximately in that area. This would be a party vehicle, so we should be able to contact it. If by the end of this stream we can like open this up and it shows us like just one item here, which is the mother vehicle, unless we are the mother vehicle, in which case it should show the scout. And then you could go like, you know, not necessarily follow me because I don't have that kind of AI behavior currently, but we should be able to tell it move here, right? And hopefully we can get the thing actually moving there. Maybe with some nice dialogue even. Dialogue options. Hey Tutu, welcome back. So if we can get that done today, then I'm gonna be a pretty happy boy. The reason I am going to be a happy boy is that that allows me to continue with the mission scripting, right? So I was previously actually working on the missions, or the demo mission. It's kind of like my main body of work currently. And I came to realize that I can't actually implement the mission without having the radio system working. So it's sort of like it's sort of blocked by this thing. And hopefully this will then unblock that for me, and I can go on just implementing that. Of course, all of this eventually leads to you guys being able to play the game. So that's pretty cool. There's quite a few actually problems still for us here to figure out, right? What if we do this? What if we go here? Like, go in here, in this house, and now I tell the mother vehicle like, hey mother vehicle, not follow me, but like mother vehicle, move here. What should happen here? Like I don't know exactly. Obviously the mother vehicle can't fit in the house. Not exactly even sure. Do you have nav meshes in the house? We do have nav meshes in the house. Except they're cut out by something. I think there's like a bunch of crates there actually that are just not loaded in currently. But yeah, we have a nav mesh in there, but it can't fit in there. So it probably shouldn't even try. There's nav meshes. Things like that. We for sure won't tackle all of this today. I'm thinking I actually probably need a separate nav mesh for the mother vehicle, which covers just the areas that the mother vehicle can actually move to, right? So there's actually quite a few of these places that the mother vehicle should go like, no, I'm not going. I'm not driving there. If you want to do that, if you want to like, you know, play this as an immersive sim and just go like, well, I'm going to go there myself then you just switch to the mother vehicle and you drive there yourself and you see if you can actually fit. That is supported by the game, but the AI won't necessarily try to do everything crazy. But yeah, obviously you should be able to actually switch to the mother vehicle, in which case the radio menu should change so that you can actually contact your scout friend here. And so the scout friend can now say, you can tell the scout friend to, hey, move here, and realistically the scout vehicle can kind of go wherever you want to go with the mother vehicle, right? That way should be completely fine. So that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, these kinds of things won't be solved today. But if you can at least tell your friend, hey, come here, drive to this place, then that would be nice. And obviously we can't tell the companion to drive to your exact position, right? Because then they will try to just drive into you. Or perhaps, since actually, there's the vehicle. There's the vehicle. Switch this guy. This should actually have a, yeah, as you can see, it has a nav mesh obstacle component, which we added in like a previous episode. It actually won't be able to drive exactly to you because you are technically not on the nav mesh. So we need to figure out where we actually want the companion to drive to, basically by finding a nearby place on the nav mesh. But that shouldn't be super tricky. Yeah, if you drive fast enough, it doesn't try to put an obstacle there, because it doesn't really make sense. Like a frame or two later, you won't be there anyway, so it just skips those until you reach a certain low speed again, at which point it will try to cut holes into the thing. All right, let's get cracking. Let's try something that I've never tried. See if it works. So we have in the gameplay folder, we have the radio manager. We can rename this to com radio manager. And then we try to do rename symbol, com radio contact. Right? Does that actually work? Let's see what... okay, I renamed this, so I wonder if I can actually... I can compare that. That's annoying. Okay, well, I guess we'll get a compile error if this doesn't work. But we can do something like rename symbol here, com radio manager. It should also update things in... Is it means app? No, it's not means app. It's main.zig, I think. This one. Did it rename it properly? Maybe it's not here. No, it's means.zig. Yeah, so you can see that it actually did not manage to do that. Oh, radio manager. Alright, so radio manager is the Zig file that we just looked at. Yeah. Why can't I actually control click on anything? Alright, okay. It's probably because... Okay. Yeah, I need to do something like this. I need to do like com radio manager. And maybe it would actually have had... Yeah, that's probably why. Because I renamed that first. Oh well. I probably broke it myself, to be honest. Can't be helped. Com radio manager. There will probably have something like, where is it? Is it in-game menu logic? Rename symbol's a bit cracky at the moment. Yeah, I've tried it ages ago and it was cracky. And I can imagine it being a little better now, but oh well. Fortunately, I'm old enough that I've lived in an age where we didn't really have any kinds of tools like this. So I'm actually pretty used to doing things by hand. Just do like maybe like dot radio logic would become .com radio logic. Right. It's not a very big deal. No, that is true. And ZLS is just becoming a lot better all the time. I have sort of a love-hate relationship with it. It bugs me every single time I work with Zig. I get annoyed at least once at ZLS. But truth be told, I wouldn't probably use Zig as much as I do if it wasn't for ZLS. So I do appreciate it a whole lot. All right. That's that. What else was there? I don't remember. Let's see if we can. Let's remove the cache, like so, and then build and see what happens. All right. Right. Radio menu state. This should probably be com radio menu state, but we can maybe do this is slightly more intelligently. Right, so com radio menu state. Yeah. Let's just YOLO this and see what's going on. It does mean that we actually have things like this, right? That are actually strings. You could argue that these should be changed on the string side as well, but I'm not actually going to do that. At least not right now. Oh, not that. I can do that later if I want to, but I just want this to be called com radio in the code everywhere, essentially. Right. Let's go here. And this is now like means.radio manager. That should be com radio manager everywhere. And that's just com radio contact. So basically, every time you see com radio, you know exactly what it refers to. I think radio is a little too generic to general or whatever to actually give you a good idea of what is actually going on. It's like, oh, do we have like radio channels, like GTA style radio channels here, or what is going on? Right. So some of these are probably going to be a little bit out of date. Let's see, com radio, and com radio. Something like that. Maybe those should be called actually. Yeah, com radio manager is what I actually renamed them to already. All right. Like so. I think this one just basically creates it and then destroys it. I don't think it really does anything else. No. What then? Radio manager. Okay, so this is the RPC stuff. This is arguably not really necessary, but let's actually go here through here. So, as I mentioned in the previous part, the RPC stuff is actually something that I would normally generate, and I would generate it through this thing called the RPC IDL, or interface definition language. Com radio manager. You basically just tell this system Hey, what's the target class name? It's called class because this is made for C++. Let's tell it, make sure that it's called com radio manager, right? And com radio contact. Ah, that was actually a typo there. But yeah, I don't actually use this yet, as was evident, since that typo didn't cause any issues. But my plan is to eventually make it so that the IDL compiler can generate Zig as well, and then I can just use the same IDL file. And that is the reason why I keep these things up to date. Word wrap. So let's do com and com and com and com. So we have a stub and a proxy on C++ as well, but we obviously have a header file and a CPP file. So we can just delete those guys, and now we should be able to generate the com radio manager. We get no errors and no warnings, and we get a bunch of generated files that look like this. And these guys should now target something called a com radio manager. Yes. So that's that. But here, we still do it by hand. It's actually a fair bit more involved than I had originally thought it would be. Let's close everything down. Close all. Then just take... come on, close all. Close all. Thank you. Radio manager. Com radio manager. What? Well, it's just one. Okay. Yeah, the proxy probably actually doesn't have more than one, but this one, this stub for sure does. One there, one there. And that's essentially it, because it's just we just shorten it here to target. And then we need to still go in here and fix up those paths. Com radio manager. Still something that we missed. Radio manager RPC proxy. Yeah, indeed we don't. Yep. Now we have one there as well. Com radio contact. All right. Should we call this unavailable com radio contacts received? Maybe. All right. Just a few more. Just a few more. Almost there. Almost there. And get available. This is way too. This is way too. General com radio contacts, like so. Right, what was this? Com radio manager, yeah, com radio manager. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. Com radio logic. Feels like a little. Feels like such a small system, but we managed to put it in like hundreds and hundreds of places. Okay, good. So that's that. That works, hopefully. Right, we can still open this up. This one obviously still calls it radio, but I don't want to necessarily make that text any longer right there, unnecessarily. So that's good. All right, cool. We can mark that as done. So now then, make the radio menu show no contacts within range or something similar if there are no contacts. All right, so how do we do that then? First of all, let's quite simply return a list here. Just comment those out. Hard-coded things. Jesus, whatever. So just construct the list and return it. And if this is the case, if we don't have any contacts, then this is what it looks like. It's not like completely broken, I would say, but it's not super obvious what is actually going on. We have this highlight here, which I don't think should be there at all if we don't have any contacts. And then, so let's just remove that. Yeah, and we shouldn't be, oh yeah, we shouldn't be able to actually select anything there if we don't have any contacts. Yeah, index out of range. Yes, indeed. So in-game menu logic Zig, that's annoying, we can't actually click that. 306. In-game menu logic 306. Right, item count. Right, okay. So if the contacts don't have a length, then we shouldn't get there. But we shouldn't really ever get to that state anyway if we don't have any contacts. So let's see. Select contact, that's fine. Basically the next state, if we are in the select contact state, and if self dot get item count equals 0, then just, you know, return, don't do anything. That makes sense. Right, we still have this running. Right, so now we just, no matter how much I press these things, nothing happens, we don't get any crashes. So if, now let's go to the, so this is the logic and the HUD radio menu.zig. This is the visuals essentially. And here we have the render function. We can toggle the Zen mode to get a bit more space here. Render title text. Render the items. Right, so this is all just if we have some items. Render the input at the bottom. Yeah. That looks good. That looks good. Where is the G contacts? Right, so if G contacts is empty, what is G contacts? First of all, is that like a, right, we have a contact count. Yes, good. So this is the only thing that we really need to have. So if G contact count equals 0, then what we want to do is always the same. We always want to render that new text that we're going to add. Don't need to care about any of these other things. So highlight, yeah, this is the highlight that we looked at. This is an SVG image which is rendered there. So that's also good. Cool. Okay. So draw text with shadow should give us what we want. We could do something like this. Let's see, what is this actually? What kind of pivot is this using? It's not really setting the pivot, is it? Yeah. Right, so we can have a blur highlight bool. That is how the text kind of looks like it's sort of glowing a little bit. Right now I don't have any options here. That's true. And here we only have one of these avatar roles, but if we switch to this, which has several, you can see that like the selected text, it glows a little bit. So that's the highlight blur. If we don't have the highlight blur, then we draw like a shadow with a small shadow offset. That's fine. We can use that. So we can just simply use this and set that to false. That looks good. Shadow offset pixel. That's something that we calculate beforehand, so we can use that as well. Okay. So text. No contacts within range. Right? Like that. And I think what we maybe want to do here is what's the nano VG? It's NVG. Save and context, I think. Is it? Is it just that? UI render context. Yeah. Yes. Don't remember how I did this exactly. I'm gonna do a restore, save and restore here, so we can mess with the state. So the text is supposed to be just this. That. I will make sure to actually localize that later. Blur highlight is always false. Oh, pixel pos is not text. No, text is text. Pixel pos is what kind of type is that? It's not like it's a vector 2. Okay. Right, so we have pixel pos and we have pixel size. So we could put it like right smack in the middle of the thing. I wonder if that is like good enough for now, right? Let's set NVG text align of context. That is something that I don't remember exactly how it works. Let's see. I don't remember those values right now. So, right, middle. So center and middle is basically what we want. Something like that. You OR together some values. And you need to cast them to int to be able to OR them together. Kind of annoyingly. So center and middle. And then we put the position as the center of the whole screen. I think that should place it in the middle. I mean, that would make sense, right? So let's do const pos is pixel pos. And that's probably like top left. So let's do pixel size x divided by 2. What is this? Is this like an integer? No, it's a float. Let's divide by float as well. And actually we can do basis vec2, no basis math vec2, like that, and then do the y, and then we use that as the position. Right, so we have another. That's pos. That's not in pixel size though. Yeah. Okay. Let's do no contacts text pos. Like so. That should be better. So if we have something else that expects the text align to be somewhere else, hopefully it actually sets it, but if it doesn't, then we restore the thing here. This should make it so that we don't mess with anything else. Expects the text align to be something else. All right. What does this give us? Oh, contacts within range. I mean, doesn't that look kind of nice? I guess if we were really fancy, we could just remove this enter select here, but it's actually part of the text, isn't it? Isn't it though? Let's see. Render the input info at the bottom. Yeah, so it's like select close, select back. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's quite fine as it is. Previous menu state -1. I wonder if we would want to actually have that. So need refresh. This is where we could actually get that localized radio thingy, localized string to actually come in. So let's quickly do that. Let's be thorough and nice about this. Means data, work folder root, game, localization, and we have an Excel sheet. We have all the text, all the localized texts currently. Right. Oh no, oh no. I don't want to get involved. So let's do like text UI radio, no contacts. And here you can see those other ones. And we just copy this guy. We have the English one. I don't know any French, Italian, German, Spanish, but I do know Swedish, so I need to come up with something here. It's probably not very good Swedish, but it's good because we can use it to verify that this localization system is working. Okay. So now then, now then, basically what we want here is want to get a localized string, and we should actually even have, especially if I just restart the server here, should have like means localization keys, localization key, text, UI, radio. You can see that we don't have the no contacts. It generates this for us. Means is the code name for this game, right? Yeah, means is traction point. Traction point is means. It just I've had different incarnations for this game project over the years. There was the previous one, which was called slide. We can run slide here if we want to. If I have it working. Whoop. Let's see if it works. Slide was a project slide, what it is called slide in the code, was originally supposed to be named Traction Point. And Slide is using the same game engine. It's written in completely in C++. Well, not completely, but it's not written in Zig. So this is Project Slide. You can sort of see that it has kind of a similar, like I use many of the same, just menu graphics and all of that. And it has a slightly more detailed art style, perhaps. But you can see, for example, that I've reused the background there as well. It's a little less sort of stylized, perhaps. But many of the things are the same. And this is Project Slide, and it is in many ways a similar thing to what Means is. It's also a car game, and you can do many of the same things. It also has combat, which is something that the actual game called Means, but also is now to be known as Traction Point, doesn't have, because I realized that like combat AI is actually a very, very big task to actually make, and Jesus, this doesn't run well on this machine. I don't know exactly why. This should run locked 60, but it doesn't for some reason. And yeah, so Means is just the new code name. And so you have here, for example, you have like the whole project is like, you have Means, which is the game, you have Basis, which is the game engine, and then you have Trampoline is just, it is essentially like the Unity launcher for if you make a Zig game with Basis. Trampoline is here. It is the actual executable that we're running. So if you look here, you can see that Trampoline exe is the one that we actually ran previously. Then we have a bunch of libraries that are like sort of not really part of the game engine, but like adjacent, like Goofy is the UI system, and then the Zig standard library. So that's where Means comes in. Right. So Means.localization keys is just like the localization keys for this particular game project. And yeah, so I think what we'll do is just we'll do the same thing we have with this. So no contacts text. It's a basis string. Set it to undefined, and then we initialize it here. Allocator, and we deinitialize it here, and then in this refresh, basically we do exactly the same as here. Set no contacts text. There's a text UI radio no contacts, like that. And now we can quite simply get rid of that, and we can use str here. So now, if I did everything correctly, we should actually have that text localized. Yeah, I've done like a half-assed attempt at localizing it to Swedish, just so that I have something that I know actually works. So, no contacts within range, set the language to Swedish, and we get the other one. Nice. Okay. And nothing happens if you try to click things there. Nice. Okay. So that's that thing off the list. Alright, so figure out how to create a list of party vehicles on the server. And for that we're going to need a new com.radio component, which we will add to the vehicles that we can contact, and they can tell the radio manager, com radio manager, as it's now called, who am I, what is my name, what is the game object that I belong to, and all of that good stuff that the radio manager then needs to actually issue the commands there. So let's do that. Let's make a new component right here. So com radio component.zig, and I have a small snippet here to make it a little easier to do that. So let's do com radio component, and I typically just name them means.com radio component. So this is a thing which is supposed to live on both client and server, on both the client and the server's side. We most likely want to have some exposed properties that we can set on it. We can set on it in the level editor, such as is it enabled or not. And we might also want to be able to script those things, but I think for now we'll just go with exposed properties. So how do we set exposed properties then? Let's look at this, for example. This has a bunch of exposed property map, and we need something to be able to. So we need something to set there. I'm just going to drag this off to the side. We should have a better view of the thing we're actually working with here. Right, so I typically add like another section here for this stuff. So exposed property map is essentially a tuple. We will need the actual exposed properties, like the members here. So let's do like exposed properties, and let's do like radio enabled bool. That could be one of them. Basis exposed properties and a property. So parent type is self, type is bool, field name is radio enabled, default value is false, version added is 1, option can be just an empty string. Like that. So now we can set this radio enabled boolean right here in the level editor. And we set it to false by default, so that you have to explicitly like tell the system what you have to explicitly tell the system that this vehicle is supposed to be sort of callable, reachable by radio. And then we'll probably need and or want to have something like a name, right? Isn't that called like a call sign? What's a call sign? Call sign. Broadcaster radio communication. Call sign is a unique identifier for transmitter station. Let's call it a call sign for now, because I don't have any better idea. So call sign would be like a string, but this would probably actually be some kind of like localized string in the final game. But for now, let's just call it string, or make it a string. The string needs to be initialized, so basis string init context.allocator, and it needs to be deinitialized as well. Alright. Isn't destroy what I actually used to typically use to deinit things? Yeah, I haven't done any new components in a while. I keep forgetting these things. That's the problem with using your own tech. If you don't know, then no one knows. That's bad. Yeah, call sign is also something that we want to expose. String property is what we want to have here, because we actually want to give the default value as like a slice of, well, like a standard string slice, basically. Call sign, default value, just empty, 1, and also empty string, like so. And we can then put some conditions on what these things need to have. Things like, you know, if this enabled is true, then this call sign must not be empty. Things like that. You can make it refuse to build the level if that is the case. Righty-o, and this thing now, it needs to essentially report its call sign and the vehicle name, or the vehicle path, the game object name, essentially, to the radio manager. Those are the two things that it needs to tell the radio manager for the player to be able to actually call it. But that shouldn't be a problem. Let's see, what else do we have? Not sure if we need most of these. But in object created, I think, is where we will actually want to register the contact. So we can go to radio manager, which is now called com radio manager, and add a new public function here. Get available radio contacts. I think this right below this is probably quite good. So pub fn, register contact. And do we actually want to just pass in like a pointer? No, probably not. Probably don't want to do that. This keeps track of avatar objects by host ID. So the string hash here is the name hash of the game object. So I think this is what we will actually sort of identify those things by. So we can do object name hash, and the string hash is just CU32, so it's a 32-bit string hash. And then the call sign, something that we'll want to use, and that would be probably just a standard string. In other words, a slice of 8-bit unsigned integers, something like that. And then we also want to unregister the contact if the object goes away for one reason or another. And in that case, we don't need the call sign there. Just the object name hash is fine. That's nice. And I think we'll only want to do this on the server. But let's see for now. Let's just keep it as it is. So what this can do now is it can go, let's see, means, we need to import the means namespace. Means.zig. And yeah, what this can do now is on object is created is called when this component or the object that this component belongs to has been fully initialized. So the order is there's some pretty old code. There's some historical reasons for this, because this game engine wasn't originally built for Zig, so some of these things feel a little too object oriented, maybe object oriented for Zig, but historical reasons and all that. So when one of these components are created, it calls init, and that lets you initialize things, basically, not much else. Actually, we can set that to false right there. Then it calls create. That is when the object has gotten a stable address. So you can sort of rely on this self here being like fixed in place. And then the next thing that gets called is this onObject created, and that is when all the components of the game object has been created and fixed in place. So you can just get like a pointer to a sibling, for example. If you know that the object has another component, you can get a pointer to that. Or if you want to check if there is a sibling. And then destroy is called when it's about to die. So here, I think, is where, if we're on the server, we will want to register this guy with the com radio component, the com radio manager. But actually, we only want to do that if we're not in the editor. So, not in editor and on the server. Right? Because these things actually run in the editor as well. That's sort of like the beauty and the horror of these components. It can be very, very handy to do certain things, and it can be very confusing and not very nice in other things, other cases. So we do means dot, actually we do try means dot, and we're on the server now, so we get the server com radio manager, register contact, game object name hash. So we need to do self context get game object get name hash. Call sign is just self.call sign. Right. And if we want to actually be a little nicer about this, we could store this in a member, but nah. I'm not gonna do that now. That's fine, but I want to format that vertically though. So destroy is kind of like the opposite thing then. Again, if we're in the game itself and on the server, we do try. Actually, that probably doesn't need to return any errors. It can just be means server com radio manager unregister contact, and then self context get game object get name hash. Like that. And this is kind of like the only thing we need to do for now. This should allow already allow us to get these contacts to show up in the menu. What we could perhaps do is pass along like a list of messages that this guy supports right next to these things here. So we have com radio manager. This has the enum radio message type. Right, so do we want to actually have like a list of these guys? What we can tell? Or do we want to make it so that if this list actually changes, then here in the resolve available contacts for host, here we actually just in time, so to speak, we get like the list of messages that each contact can support, because we push them right here to this messages array. I don't know. Either way, it's probably fine. If we do it here, then that means that the contact needs to essentially store a pointer to that com radio component, this guy, so that we can call a function on this guy on the server. That might be okay. I'm gonna comment out some of these. I don't think we need those. Put in an HR there, and let's do like pub fn get supported messages, right? Self const self, and this would return a const. No, actually not that way, but this way. A const slice of means com radio manager radio message type, right? Something like that. Self, we will need probably self in a bit, but in the meantime we can just do how do we do this? Is it like something like this, and then means com radio manager radio message type, move here, something like that. So now we just return like a list of one. I think we actually need the address of there. And that means that when we actually construct this list of things to pass to a specific someone on the radio, going like, hey, give me all the contacts, right before it constructs that list, it calls this guy. That's fine. That means, however, that we need to actually pass a pointer to this com radio component when we register it. That might be fine. Might not be a problem at all. To do that though, we need to actually register, or to do anything really, we need to register that that component with the system. So it's com radio component.sig.com radio component. Like so, and then we just need to push it to this list. That didn't work. That's because we need to call str on that. And that works. But yeah, I think what we actually will need here is to refactor that, just so that we can do means components com radio component. Oh, no. Com radio component, like so. And we have the register contact. This thing will actually just take a pointer to the component, right? So we do like comp. It would be like a pointer to a com radio component, like so. And same thing with this. So that means that this guy then just essentially passes itself there. Like that. And same thing here. Yeah. And that should be all right. Yeah, get supported messages like the the radio manager needs to read things like the call sign, but it can do that because it's just a member, so that's fine. Actually, this is something that we might want to check here. If we're enabled, self-enabled, then we want to register. If we're not, then oh, we can't do that. Yeah, don't register or unregister if you're not enabled, actually. Otherwise, what will happen is that if you just spawn a vehicle at runtime through like a debug menu, it goes in and registers itself, even though it technically doesn't really anything to do with the com radio. So that's probably better. Keep it like this. These get supported messages, this thing could be just like a member as well, like an array that we fill in, or an array list or something. But for now, let's keep it as a function. We can change it later on. So with this now, if we go here to the COM radio manager, this is where we would want to have some sort of internal representation of a contact. We have a contact request here, and that's fine. Const contact. Register contact. Yeah, that is the term we've been using. There's also a COM radio contact, which is actually a little bit different. Because this is the thing that we actually pass to get available COM radio contacts. You get like a callback, and this callback, again it goes to the delegate. This callback is passing like a list of these COM radio contacts. Yeah, so this should be called something else. Let's call this like contact data or something. This thing is only supposed to be used inside the COM radio manager itself. And here previously we came up with something called an ID. I think this name here in the COM radio contact, this is essentially like the call sign. Maybe that should be renamed the call sign, but let's not do it for now. But we will want to have the ID here, and we will want to have. Essentially, no, we don't need the ID, because the ID can just be the string hash. So that's fine. We will just want to have the pointer to the component. So essentially like this, COM radio component. We can add more stuff here later if we need to, but for now that's probably fine. And then we'll just want to have a list of those guys, right? And we call that list registered contacts. And it's a stud array list of contact data. Yeah. So, stud array list contact data init, give it the allocator, and we need to deinitialize it. Not self dot. That would have been a Stack Overflow. Right, like so. And here now we can quite simply try self registered contacts append contact data, and it's called comp, and we just give it comp. Right. Unregistered contact. I don't know. Is there like a? Does anyone know? Is there like a nice? Registered contacts items. Is there a nice way to actually figure out deletions by some like predicate or something, right? Erase, I think. No, it's not. It's a remove. It's not that either. What is it called? Oh, swap remove or ordered remove. Yeah, swap remove or ordered remove is what we want, and it takes an index. There's no sort of find or anything like that now. All right. Well, I know how to do this the hard way, so let's do it the hard way. But yeah, if anyone knows how to actually do this the not so hard way, let me know. So if e dot comp equals comp, then do self probably actually it returns something that we need to ignore. So let's do registered contacts, ordered remove I, return. Like that. That is how you remove something based on a predicate. But I have a feeling there's probably a more elegant way to do it. Not sure. Now then, what we can do here is for self registered contacts. Oh, right. So the first thing we need to do is figure out, this is the host ID of the caller. You know, someone wants to know the available resource, the available contacts. And it's called resolve available contacts for host because the host is like a player, typically the single player, but maybe someone else if we do multiplayer. The host ID identifies that someone, that player, that client, essentially. We need to filter out their own radio contact from this list. And we do that by tracking their avatar object. So we already do it here, and I hope this works. I haven't really paid any attention to this thing, but we have an on message received, and when the avatar is set, we get the avatar object name hash and a host ID, and then we put it into this avatar objects by host ID. And so basically no one should ever call this unless they are an avatar of some sort. So figure out the avatar name hash of the caller, and that would be self avatar objects by host ID get, and what do we have? We have get entry, which may or may not return something. Yes, that is basically what we want. So key is host ID. Let's do caller host maybe. If caller host maybe equals maybe we don't actually want to error out if that is the case, but let's make this like a var caller avatar name hash and set that to 0, and if self avatar objects by host ID get host ID gives us something, value, then the caller avatar name hash is value. Right, so we know to actually filter that out, and that's called host ID. And so if it's something bogus, then we just don't filter anything out. That's probably like the most sensible way of doing that. So now for self registered contacts items, we have the entry, and then we have the index. Do we need the index? We don't probably need the index. So now we need to figure out the name hash for every object. So name hash, maybe we should call it object name hash, and we can do e.comp.get context.get game object.get name hash. It's a whole mouthful. And if object name hash equals caller avatar name hash, then we quite simply continue. We skip that. This is the contact for the caller. We don't want to include them in the list. However, if we don't if we don't have that, then we can basically copy paste one of these things. So what do we have? Contact ID. This can quite simply now be the object name hash. That's fine. This we want to make e.comp.callsign.str. And I think this messages has append slice. Yes. So e.comp.get, not s.comp. e.comp.get supported messages. Right. And it's not hard-coded anymore. I think that is basically what we need. I did something bad. Let's see. Comp time must be const or comp time. Comp time int must be const or comp time. Well, don't make it a comp time int then. Silly string hash. I guess we could design it by using some sort of or else or else syntax, which would allow us to make it a const. But right, so now that needs to be var, yeah. Right, so now that builds. Now, if we are somewhat lucky, what this now means is that we should be able to add this new component to a bunch of object types. For now, let's just add it to the Scout and to the mother vehicle. Then we should be able to place those in the level. Well, we already have actually a couple of them there. But we can place some more just to actually test the system out. And just mark them as radio enabled, give them a call sign, and they should show up in the menu, right? In the radio menu. And they should all have a move here command that we can try. So the way this works is that we go into the asset browser. We need to make sure that we're using the means project. And we basically need this string. This is the thing that identifies this component in the game. What's going on with this editor now? Well, it's somewhere off screen and I can't see it. Move. There we go. Hello. Blueprints. So vehicle blueprints. Now we haven't actually registered the component type with this tool, which means that it doesn't know how to show like a nice UI for it like this. But we don't actually have any of these so-called blueprint properties for that component type, so it's completely fine. We can just add a component. We give it the means.com radio component name here. Like if we take that away, we can see all of these things that are actually available and registered here in the tool. We just give it the means.com radio component and we'll call it com radio. It will tell us that it's not a registered component type. I sure want to use it. And we just tell it to trust us, bro. We want it on the client and the server. We don't actually technically need it here in the level editor, but since it has exposed properties, it will appear in the editor as well, because that is the only way to actually have it set those exposed properties. That was the Scout. Let's do the same for Mother. component com radio, trust me bro, and that's it. So let's see if this works. Finally blockout, which is really not a blockout anymore, but it's still called that because of reasons. You can get rid of the nav mesh. Don't need that for now. Okay, so these are the two vehicles that are actually part of the campaign. Now we can see here com radio. Set it to true, and we can set the call sign to let's call it like campaign scout, so that we can identify it there in the list later. And this is campaign mother. Alright, and then let's add some test vehicles here. So let's add a new layer. Let's call this radio test vehicles. We'll make it auto load, so we don't need to actually do anything to have these guys show up. They will show up automatically. Let's call this test scout 1, then just duplicate it and call this test scout 2. Alright, and now if we press Control P, now we should only see those test vehicles because we haven't loaded the campaign currently. Let's see if that actually works. R, haha, look at that. And if I click it, it says move here. So that actually works. Those guys are right there. Hello. Hello to you. And now if we actually, if we switch to this, right, like so. Now if we open the radio menu, we should only see test 1. We should not see this guy because they're the radio com component is not on. The radio is not on essentially. Except that's the wrong button. So switched back. Unfortunately, let's switch again and let's do. Right, so okay, something is not working because we still see test scout 2, and this is essentially us, right? Radio test vehicles scout 2. That is the name of this whole thing. So the string hash is essentially like the hash of radio test vehicles :scout 2. So that thing shouldn't show up in the menu. That's interesting that it does. Let's export this level. And we can run it in the debugger and see what's what. So com radio manager. Let's put a breakpoint there. Let's hope this is somewhat debuggable. All right. Okay. Yeah. That's fine. I don't want to do it quite yet. Actually, maybe we do. Maybe we do want to do it. Yeah, let's do it right in the beginning. So let's see, self. Does this guy actually have any registered contacts? Yeah, it has 2 of them. Okay, good. Caller avatar name hash. We can find that, and it is what? Oh, it is 0. Well, that's not good. Why is it 0? So does that mean actually that that this thing has kind of failed for one reason or another. It is possible. Oh, I think I know actually what the problem is here. Yeah. Yeah, we don't subscribe to anything. Yeah. We want to specifically subscribe to this. So com radio component. Yeah, message node is actually not handled at all. Yeah, that would be the reason why it doesn't work. So basically, I just commented this out at some point when I figured I probably don't need it, but of course I need it because I am tracking those avatars. So let's do that, and I also need to do this. Yeah. That should be fine. And now we should essentially get at a breakpoint there. We should hit a breakpoint there when the avatar is set. I eat microwaves. Oh, that doesn't sound very tasty. But you do you. Okay, here we go. Host ID should be 1. And it is 1. And avatar object name hash is something. That looks good. That looks good. Now then. You should see. Now we should have both of those guys. Yes. So we can you can see if we switch to, I think this is number 2, isn't it? That's number 2. Let's switch to that. Yeah, now we got just the 1. Switch back and then we switch to number 1, then we should only get number 2. Yes. Okay. Move here. Okay, cool. Now, it shouldn't be super tricky to actually have those guys follow you around or indeed move here, move to somewhere where you are. But we'll see. See how that works. I think we can tick off some of those tasks that we had. So figure out how to create a list of party vehicles on the server. Yes, on a list of party vehicles, create a contact list with callers filtered out. We did that already. In radio menu logic next, call a method on the server side manager to actually send the message. That would be the next thing. And then the server side manager calls the com radio component, which uses the brain component to actually move the vehicle. So we have AI brain component. This guy has a function that we can call append move to object. Append means that we are actually appending a task to the task scheduler, which you can see somewhere, if I can remember where it is. Right, action. Action, not task, but action. So we have an action scheduler, essentially a list of things for the AI vehicle to do. We just append things to that. So that's good. And I think basically what we want to do is we want to have the com radio manager figure out where to move to. Maybe we actually do the com radio component can figure it out. Maybe this can have like a, yeah, I think we'll do it actually here. This is probably a pretty good place. Com radio component is created on both the client and the server. So this guy can be given issues or given messages, given like tasks to carry out on the server, and it can then use propagated values to have things happen on the client if we want to do that. So things like playing dialogue, for example. That's probably pretty good. So what we want to do now then is Com Radio Manager. This should have a function to actually carry out that message. So let's do send radio message. Probably need a self pointer there as well, because we need to look up the contact based on their ID, right? So let's think about this for a minute. The sender probably has a host ID. I think that's how it's probably going to work. That's a signed I32, I think. Let's find a place with a host ID somewhere. Yeah, I32. The receiver has an unsigned host ID. The receiver ID is essentially this thing here, which we decided was the U32, which is in truth the hash of the target object name. And then we need the actual message. So let's do com radio message. That's not what it's actually called. It's called means dot is it not though? What is it actually called? It's called radio message type. Okay. I would like that to be com radio message type, but okay, let's keep it as it is for now. Probably something like that. Send radio message. And I think we can be pretty certain here that we need to do this on the server. So source, come on, self, not on client. Like so. And so according to the note that I had here, in radio logic in the next state, call a method on the server side radio manager to actually send the message. But that's that one. So let's find that place then. It is in the UI, in-game menu logic, next state. Here is to do send the message here. So let's do, we're already checking if we're on the server here, that's fine. So let's do means dot server com radio manager send radio message sender host self context get host is probably fine, but can we get it directly? I don't think we can. Get host ID. Receiver is that, right? So we have the message and then we have the, let's do like receiver ID. It would be like that ID. So receiver ID goes there, message goes there. That's fine. Take away the to do, but we can leave, I think, that printf there if we need it later. So that's cool. And now this ID we can essentially look up the receiver by the ID from the list that we created earlier. So we have this registered contacts. I mean, that could be just a hash map, where the key would be the ID and the value would be like contact data, or even just this com radio component, if we wanted that. Should we make that change? Then we don't need to do this hullabaloo here to actually figure out. Yeah, I guess that could be kind of handy. Well, actually, yeah, okay. We still need to do it because we're passing the pointer here. Yeah, okay. It's fine. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna justify actually having a contact data struct here, and I'm just gonna do ID, and it's a U32. And then here in the register, here, I'm going to do .id is comp.context get game object get name hash, like that. So we can find it based on that. That also means that we don't need to calculate it down here. Right, we can just do e.id essentially. Yeah. Like that. Take that away. That should be good. Yes. And that remains the same. Yes. Right. So now we need to figure out the receiver ID. Receiver is, it could be like an optional. Actually, no. Let's not do that. Let's just put in a for loop here. And I don't think we need the index at all. Take that away, take that away. If e.id equals receiver ID, then we do whatever we do right there, and then we return. So it's a linear search, but that's fine. It's basically, we're going to have like a few receivers, so linear search is quite okay. And then we go to the game object component. So we need something to call on this guy when it actually receives a message, right? So we have get supported messages. Right under this, we can have like on message sent, and it's like a message sent to this guy. So the message is means.radio com radio manager radio message type, and then we probably want to have the sender, or we do need the sender. And in what form should we send the sender? That's a good question. Actually, this might have to like throw errors or return errors, so let's make it like that. We will need to let it know which sender it is. That's actually passing that thing. And so com radio manager, it has the sender host ID here, so it could figure out the avatar. Yeah, let's do that. Let's actually make this into a function. So get avatar host, get avatar name hash by host ID self, and this would return an I32, and it would be something like this, and that can be just called like name hash. And there's a basis network unset host ID, which I think is 0. No, it's -1 actually. That's fine. Host ID, that would be I32. Name hash is, oh actually no, name hash is a string hash. So that's, yeah. So it's actually 0, and this would be an U32. Yeah. So we can just do like return val, return 0. That's how it actually goes. So here we can do instead, we can do host ID, and that can be a const. That's fine. And then here we wouldn't want to call it caller, but it's more like sender host ID. So sender avatar name hash. Yeah. And we can make it very explicit that this is like a string hash. That's just that it's a shorthand for you, or it's not even really a short, it's like a longhand for U32. But make it very, very clear that this is actually a string hash, a hashed string. And I think the manager actually has, yeah, the map is from I32 to string hash. Oh, that's cool. So now let's go back here, and we can add like sender avatar name hash, which is string hash, and we can format this vertically. That's nicer. On message sent. So put it here. So e.comp.on message sent, sender avatar name hash. We have that nicely available to us. Come on, like so, and the message is just message. Yeah, this doesn't return any errors. Let's see if it actually can return errors. Let's see, send radio message. It's called from the in-game logic. This doesn't return any errors. Well, that's fine. I think what we will do actually here is I will just catch the error and do like a fatal error with name error. Well, that's the source location, that's the error, like so. What? Self dot, yeah. Same thing maybe, yes. All right. All right, that's nice. Now then, this guy needs to do quite a bit of work to actually make something happen now, but it is essentially kind of like it's essentially sort of like up to the message what needs to happen. But if we have the move here message, then what this needs to now do is, first of all, needs a pointer to the brain, AI brain component of this object. Shouldn't be super tricky to get. The next thing it needs to do is get a position in the world where it can drive, or you know, not. If it doesn't do that, then it should probably report its failure somehow to the player by playing a line of dialogue saying that, hey, I can't actually reach that place. And finally, if it has that, then it needs to call move to object. Now this is kind of interesting actually, because like move to object takes like a target. So we don't actually want move to object. We probably need to put in a new function here called move to position. And we can see that it's not super, shouldn't be super tricky to actually get that. Create that. So what actually happens here? We get the game state. Out of the game state we get a target object, because this target is just a string here. So it's assumed to be the path of the object. If we have the target object, then we do things. If not, then we print a warning. Then we try to get the world transform out of the target object. Again, if we don't have anything, we print a warning. And finally, we append a new action to the scheduler, move to action. We set like, okay, how fast do we actually want the thing to drive there? Apparently it's just hard-coded to fast currently. That's a bit stupid, I guess. Arrival epsilon is like how close does it need to be in world space to that position to be considered sort of like, okay, I'm here now. And then finally, we set some actions on the parameters on the action. So position, movement profile, epsilon, and that is like, yeah, this is something that we added actually in a fairly recent stream. Deactivate driving AI post movement. What is kind of supposed to happen then? So that should be easy enough to extend a little bit. Let's create another function here. Quite simply call it move to position. And this should be much easier. So the action layer is something that we will still want there. The action layer is sort of like you can have several things happening simultaneously on an AI agent, and everything happens on an action layer. If you add multiple actions to the same layer, then they get sort of executed one after another. But if we want simultaneous things to happen, then you need to put them on different layers. Right, so instead of a target object, we have maybe we could call that target position. Target position, and this would be a basis math vector 3. We don't need the game state at all. Get rid of that stuff. We don't need to see if we can find a position because we already have it, so we can get rid of that stuff. And we quite simply pass it to the action like so. That should be it. So much simpler actually. It can still fail, of course, if we just like the position is like in the air. The nav mesh system will go like, nope, that won't be possible. And that happens in the actual movement system, so it's not sort of like on a lower level than this. But yeah, I think this should be good enough to get started. Now then, let's try to get a pointer to the brain. If we don't have the brain component, then we can't really do much. AI brain component, just shorten it here to AI brain component. And we can do AI brain component is an optional pointer to an AI brain component. Initialize it to null. And in onObject created, before we go and register this thing, we get the const game object, is self context get game object. This is the parent object this component belongs to. And we do self AI brain component with small letters is game object get component of type AI brain component. So that should return an optional pointer to the thing. So that's good. So on message sent, I think we should have probably a function per message type that this thing can actually handle. So currently we actually return here a list. We just move here. So let's do like, that's actually not supposed to be a public function, but more like a function on message sent move here, or something along those lines. Yeah, and the sender hash is still there. So some of these messages might require you to figure out, you know, where's this sender. Some of them might not. Some of them might have to require you to figure out some other things about the sender. So I'm just going to pass the sender name, sender avatar name hash through here, so that each individual object or message can then do whatever they need with the sender. So let's do like a switch on the message type. That doesn't work, but we can do means.com radio manager radio message type dot move here. Or maybe it's actually just self dot on message sent move here and sender avatar name hash. And then else, we just don't do anything. All right. That looks okay. So on message sent should what error is ignored? Okay, right. Let's try. Right? Try that. Try to do that. On message sent should only ever get called on the server. Send radio message. This is only ever called on the server. So on message sent should also only ever get called on the server. So I quite often do these kinds of things where on server. I put in like an assert here. Of course, it tells you if you've done something wrong, but it also is a little bit of documentation for yourself or for someone else reading this code. Like, okay, this is actually always supposed to run on the server. Okay. Coolio. So what we can do here, first of all, is to figure out where is here, right? So let's do const sender is self dot context get game state get game object. There should be one by name hash sender avatar name hash. And this gives us an optional pointer, right? So if sender is is null here. Sender equals null. Then we can do basis debug overlay print. Was it debug warning? And then radio message sender cannot be found. Right? Actually, should we do that on the higher level? I think we should actually do that on the higher level. Like, we don't need to necessarily get the like I mentioned earlier, I don't think we necessarily need to get the position for the message every time, but there should still be a sender object. There should still be an object corresponding to the sender of this guy. So that's fine. Then we can just return here. Return. Radio message sender cannot be found. And if we want to, we can do like radio message sender with name hash something cannot be found, and then we can do that if that is indeed nicer. Right, so you can see here that what we get is an optional game object PTR, and something that ends with PTR in my code base is typically a C++ pointer, sort of disguised as a Zig type. So this is the pointer to a game object on the C++ side, but it's optional. So we can do sender game object. I probably need to do like basis game object PTR, which is not optional. So this should actually have a value here, which means that we can do this dot that. Since we check the null here and return before that happens. So here we already have the sender, and then sender dot get world position right. So sender pos is that. If the object here doesn't actually have a transform, because that is possible in this tech, then and that thing won't be anything sensible. Actually, it will be 0, yeah. Yeah, so that's fine. Maybe we'll want to use this get world transform anyway, so that we can show a sensible error. Target sender pos is basis math vec3 0 and var sender orientation basis math quaternion identity. If not sender dot get world transform sender pos sender orientation, then again we can do something like this. Radio message here we already know that we're doing the move here, so like cannot move here. Sender has no transform. Which is possible. Your avatar can be something that is actually not physically in the game world. It can be just a pure logical object. All right. Let's make sure that builds. It kind of looks like it's doing. And this is where I get a little bit nervous, because I haven't used runtime, the navmesh runtime in a little while. But basically, it's a bunch of static functions that you're only ever supposed to call on the server. So has navmesh, you need to give it a navmesh ID. That is typically just like the main one. We don't have any permutations yet, even though I put in some values here for the permutations already. We just have the main one. Like I mentioned, the mother vehicle is so big that it possibly won't actually be able to sort of to use the main one. Might have to get another one. Technically, we don't even need to do anything with the nav mesh here because the AI system does that. We can just go like, hey, move to this position here. But that's a little risky if the position is just outside of the nav mesh. So we might want to actually find right here. Here is what we actually want to use. Find random point around circle, right? We give it the nav mesh, we give it the center. This would be now the position of the caller. Max radius, how far away. We get a result. Search box size. Pretty sure we use this somewhere. Let's see. Actually we don't. But I think search box size is it's probably like 10 or something. It's what I've used previously. Let me see if we can actually can we find this in the C++ code used somewhere. Kind of look like we're not doing that, but I know for a fact that we did use that in the Hyper project, which is like this twin stick shooter thingy which I developed on the channel as well. So let's find that function there and just make sure that search box size is something sensible. Need to be .zig files, obviously. Yeah, it's 10. So let's use 10. That looks good. That looks good. So yeah, if we can't find this, then we just have to return something like I can't get to you, blah blah blah. But for now, we can just use a debug warning. So let's do target position is again basis math vec3 0 and what are all the different results it can return? Okay, in progress, could not find blah blah blah. So it should return okay if we actually find something there, right? So if basis nav mesh runtime find random point around circle. This is main. Center is sender position. Here we'll probably want to have some nice const radius. What do we use? Like 5 maybe, and search box size is 10. Might have to make those adjustable. Right, so that's radius. That's actually max radius is what it is. Max radius of the circle. Then we give the address of target pos, and then this is search box size. If this is not okay, then we need to do cannot move here, no path to the let's do something like cannot find target position. And this is probably actually when we should show some dialogue, something like, okay, I can't find a path to you, blah blah, can't move to you. But anyway, that is that. And then, of course, we need to have actually a brain. Remember that that's actually that is actually an optional. So let's do something a little stupid here. If self AI brain component equals null, cannot move here, I have no brain. How about that? Well, that means that now we can just use the brain component without worrying about it. AI brain, probably clear layer, primary, AI brain component, append, move to position. That would be target pos. That would be primary. Deactivate driving AI post movement. Probably not. Let's do false. And I think here we should just do like debug overlay, debug trace, moving to position. Error is ignored. Try. Okay. What do you think? Will this work? So those debug warnings and traces, they appear here in the corner. Should be fine. Let's do test scout 1. Well, to me. Radio message sender with name #0 cannot be found. Oh boy. Why is it 0 now then? Let's put a breakpoint there. So that's 0. That's stupid. Why is it 0? Sender host ID is probably 1, right? No, sender host ID is 0. That's not good. Huh. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that is actually true. Yeah, this is the server's host ID, which is 0. That makes perfect sense actually. I'm gonna hardcode a 1 here, which should obviously we can't leave it like that, but oh okay. Stop. Let's rebuild. It should be 1, because the server always has host ID 0. It should actually have been the first clue to me that what is actually going on there. But now if we do move here, you should see something. Ah, look at that. They're trying to get to us. I don't know why they figure they need to go through the road, but oh well. Test scout 1. Let's actually move a little further away. We can see that the radius of 5 is a little too big here now. Something like that. Okay, test scout, was it 1 maybe? Move here. Hey. Oh Lord, they're coming. Yeah, well, we'll try the shed in just a bit. I just want to figure out that host ID problem that we had. Yeah, see, this is the problem. This is there's a problem with the AI that the turn radius is actually quite large when they get up to speed. So that guy that guy kind of tries to reach this place. Now he got close enough to where I am. Yeah. So there's probably like the radius was like 5. This is the center, so this is probably around 6 or 7. 5 is around here. So he came along the road and did like a turned as quickly as he could, but he was still applying the throttle, so he sort of overshot a little bit. Yeah, still quite a bit of work to do on the AI. But it kind of works. Like if we do this now, move here, come on. They're very sort of particular about using the road if they can in any way, because the roads cost, the road's movement cost is so low, which essentially translates to the road is very, very fun to drive on for the AI, so they want to drive on it as long as they possibly can, right? Alright, Scout, let's go. Come on, come. Come on. Yep. It does work. Should figure out this host ID thing though. So it is this thing here. Yeah, this next state, put a breakpoint there. I think this actually belongs to an avatar, vehicle avatar component, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it? Vehicle avatar component, right. In-game menu logic tick. Yes, so I think what we actually need here is not the host ID, because that is not the server, so it's always 0, but instead it's like self.context.get avatar host ID. That is what we want. That should be the correct thing. Right, just put my master volume down. Okay, let's go 2. Come on, move. Let's go. Yes, now it works. Okay. So now we can try. Come on, test scout 2. Let's go. Test scout 1 as well. Come on, come. They should have no problem arriving here, but oh, I don't know why that guy went there. I need better AI debugging tools. It's interesting that they do like a hard right when they arrive. Wonder why that is. Let's go to 1 move here. Come on. Yeah, well, you have arrived, asshole. Stop that. It probably has something to do with like we do use break. We do use get random something or other to get the final position. So let's see. Where are we actually? This is the drive line. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Let's do something like this. Com radio component. So we can put in do like a debug target position. This is math vec3, something like that, right? And then we need to actually make sure that we're running the server on the same thread as the client. Yes, we are currently doing that, and that allows us to actually draw where the object is actually sort of trying to move. Now we can just do basis debug draw sphere self there, and radius can be just 1, I guess, and then basis color white, and we quite simply set this to the position. Target pos like that. Yeah, I will never stop writing f on after my never stop writing f after my floating points. It's too deeply ingrained in my brain. Okay. 0. And I think at least for the scout, this radius of 5 is a bit large, so let's make it 2.5 instead. And it should probably find a position. Like with the 5, and it's still possible, I guess, but at least with the 5 radius set to 5, if you go into the shed and then you ask them to come to you, the position might be somewhere way outside the shed. Right, so now let's see. I'm going to move the camera away a little bit. Test scout 1, move here. No. Movement action finished. Huh. What? Test scout 2, move here. Nav mesh query failed. Okay, so now it's clearly too small, right? Now it's clearly too small. 3.5. Another fix would have been to just like drive a bit faster so that we don't actually cut a hole into the nav mesh. What's happening? Oh, I think the server has somehow bugged out. Has it? That was weird. Okay, come on. Over here. Yeah, can't find it. Path not found. Could not find path. It does say moving to position though. So why is that like a thing? Why is that a thing that happens? We draw a sphere. I don't see any spheres. That's why I'm a little confused. I don't see any spheres around. Oh. Yeah, that wouldn't work for obvious reasons. What about that? Would that work? Yeah, I'm setting it the wrong way around. Explains everything. Yes, I am. You probably found it before I did. Yeah, look at that. Now it works. And now you can see that, okay, it's not necessarily exactly where you are. And that is the reason I wanted to make this a little smaller. we'll see. Move here might be like a little bit of an unclear instruction for some of these vehicles. Let's go the second one as well. Come on. Yeah, you can see them sort of, they're not turning fast enough, and that means that they get quite easily stuck in an infinite loop where they're trying to sort of arrive at one of those positions. But it does mean that it's an issue with the actual AI movement rather than with this radio system. The radio system works fine. Now I can pretty much guarantee that those guys won't know how to enter this building here, but we can try. The second one, move here. Where is it? Ah, perfect. It ended up inside of the building. They will do something super stupid now, won't they? Oh, actually, it failed already. Yeah, damage query failed. Ah, that was probably, yeah. I know why that was. That was probably because of this situation. I was slowly backing out of the shed, and this is what happened. So this island got cut off by me being in the way. Yeah. Let's see. Come on, move. Oh, that was number 2. Let's do number 1. Also there. Ah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, that like move here might be a little too sort of unclear of an instruction for some of these guys. Oh, what happened here? Did you get stuck? Aw, you got stuck. There we go. Oh, you're so violent. Oh well. Yeah, the thing is though that if one or two of these cases aren't easily solved with a system like this, you can always just jump into that vehicle yourself and like drive it to the place where you want to go. That is sort of the idea. They can manage pretty well to get into places, but the grass looks nice. Well, thank you. I hope it does. He's gonna drive off the cliff. Yeah, the grass looks really nice here because this is actually a place where I've properly painted it. You can see that there's a little bit of weirdness going on here. If you turn on the light map, that fixes it. So I just have light maps turned off currently, mostly because like this area is properly light mapped, but that means that some other areas here actually look quite bad currently. If we drive off the edge, you can see the light map edge right here. Like this very clear edge here. So the grass doesn't look actually very nice outside, or lots of things don't look very nice outside of this area. So if I turned off the light map here, it looks a little nicer now. That's just because there's only this one area where I actually have light maps. So if I turn it on, it looks nicer inside of that area, but outside of it looks worse. If I turn it off, everything looks kind of meh. So it will of course be fixed when I just properly light map the whole place. Right, move here. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Come on. Also, one difference between this game and the previous incarnation, Project Slide, is that I try to make these areas more open in this one. Just so that AI has an easier time actually moving around, navigating these places. The slide levels were actually kind of tight in many cases, and there are tight places here, of course, but there's also a lot of really nice and big open spaces. Anyway, this is kind of what I wanted to achieve today in this stream. And it actually works pretty well. And now, of course, with this system, I can just add more of those commands and I can have them do essentially whatever. Where's that other car? He probably got stuck somewhere along the way, didn't he? Let's see if we can find him and unstick him. It's probably the one that drove up onto that hill, so I'm a little worried about him. Yeah, there he is. What's going on, dude? Why are you just hanging around there? Hello. Is that number 1 or number 2? That's number 1, okay. Number 1, move here. Come on. It just doesn't want to do it. So yeah, as you can see, I clearly need some better AI tools. I think what has actually happened here is that for some reason the previous... Oh no, but we cleared the layer before we issue the command, don't we? Yeah, we cleared the layer, so it shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, move the position. Test code 1, move here. Where's the position? That looks sensible. Yeah, there's something weird with that guy now currently. And I can't inspect his AI state very well, so I will need to just put in more debug menus to inspect the inner state of those guys, whatever they're trying to currently do. That's like the brain has sort of like a state machine in the form of the action scheduler, and then there's the movement system has like another one. So might be that the movement system somehow got stuck, but this scout number 2 is still playing nice, obeying the commands. So that's cool. We should even be able to issue new things while they're driving elsewhere. And it does kind of seem to work. Like if I do that now, where is he trying to go? Over there. Okay. Move here instead. Yeah, and now he's moving there instead. So it does seem to work. Doesn't matter if you give them many move here commands in a row, they will just move to the most recent one. All right, good. Well, lots of things still to work on the AI system, but this radio stuff seems to work somewhat well. So that's nice. What we can do, of course, now is just plonk down. Actually, we can't plonk down a mother there because they won't be actually activated. But what we can do is most likely we can load into the game. And the mother vehicle should have their radio, their comm radio turned on, so to speak. So as soon as we gain control over... Yeah, we have the test vehicles hanging around there. Alright, campaign mother, hey! So it settles down over there, and now if you go like, hey, move here, look at that. It's working. It's working. And now this is where the sort of real power comes in. Now I can use this to use the mod, because you can't really solve most of these campaign puzzles without using the mother vehicle's cranes in one way or another. Come here, move here. I don't know why I suddenly got German. Let's see if it can manage to move here. Again, they try to stay on the road as long as possible, which is probably a good thing. Maybe slightly unnecessarily long, to be honest. Yeah, that's cool. And now we can take this, and we should have the campaign scout there instead. Yes, we do. Nice. Nice. And now we can go here. And we can take order the campaign scout to move here. Come on. Do it. Just driving into us. Okay. How rude of you, but whatever. And then we do, not that, but we do this. And we lift the thing. Yeah. I don't think we can really reach that top there. Oh, okay, no problem. We'll figure it out. I'm still unused to having this menu appear on that other button, but that makes perfect sense because we now have the radio menu on the right side. Takes like forever to get this thing to stop. Still might have to actually lower the speed of the mother vehicle, because it becomes like an absolute nuclear weapon when you have it running around in high speeds. It destroys everything in its path. That is not like a static object. Right, something like that. And cargo crane. Lower this down over there. Like so. We can detach that. Alright. Thank you, mother vehicle. And now we can of course tell it to move here again. Come on, move. Oh shit, that's not gonna... Oh, it made that. Yeah, it made the turn. Okay, that's that's fine. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. So it sort of works. Now it is in trouble. Now if I try to ask it to move here, it's going to go ballistic against those trees. So there's a little bit of like reverse turn logic that I still need to bring over from Slide. Slide actually had a pretty good system already on the AI side in place, where the thing figures out if it's stuck or not, and then does like a reverse turn and tries to drive there again. I just need to port some of that stuff over to Zig. It should be good. But one thing at a time. Test scout, move here. That's fun. It's like there's a lot more life here now that we have like other things just moving around the place. They're really quite bad drivers, though, in many cases. Now if we go up here and we spawn in a new scout. Oh. What happens? What happens? What is contacts? Contacts length 24. That seems strange. And I think we should have 24 contacts. Especially since we only support 8. Anyway, let's. I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna do this. Right, if we go up there. Spawn in the scout. And now I ask test scout 1 to move here. What are they actually going to do? Right, it probably just failed. Yeah, path not found. Movement action, movement finish. Path not found. So they can't find a path up to this place. And that makes perfect sense. That is kind of what I wanted to test. What? Something's weird. Alright, right. Yeah, you can do that. The whole program stops. Thanks, Windows. Yeah, you can't find a path up here because the path is blocked here with this thing. But it's not nicely communicated to the player, so that needs to happen. That needs to happen somehow. Blur. Now if you do the same thing, move here. Moving to position. It's really doing that though. Yeah. Looks like it is. Coolio. All right, folks. I'm gonna end it here. I think this is a pretty good place to stop. I need to spec out some more stuff for myself to work on. And quite importantly, I can now continue with the mission, which is like the next thing to actually do for the demo. So this was a good stream. At least I got a lot of work done. Hopefully this was interesting to you as well. Make sure to like and subscribe and press all the buttons and ring all the bells and do all the things. And I'll hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one.